Hey everyone, this is Pallavi and today I'm going to show the 14th game of the book Logical Chess Move by Move by Irving Chernev. This game was awarded a Brilliancy Prize. Let's see why. So this game was played between Tarrasch and Mieses in Berlin in 1916 and the opening was French defense. So white started with e4, controlling the center and also making way for the bishop and the queen to come out. Black played e6, the French defense. The idea is to play d5. When pawn takes pawn, black will also recapture with the pawn, maintaining a pawn center. So after e6, white played d4. White is again controlling the center, having a pawn center, controlling the c5 and e5 square, and also making way for the c1 bishop to come out. Black played d5. Now black is challenging the center, trying to attack the white's pawn center. Now white has a choice of various replies such as e cross d5 in order to simplify, or e5 to cramp black with the pawn chain, or knight d2, or less effectively bishop d3 to support the e4 pawn and develop a piece at the same time. White also has another reply which is knight c3, bringing a piece out and protects the e4 pawn. This is what Tarrasch played. So after knight c3, black played d cross e4. Tarrasch disapproves of this exchange of pawns as black surrenders the center without obtaining any compensation. White captured knight cross e4. Now white has a beautifully centralized knight, pressure on c5 square and the e5 square, and a pawn in the center, which assures him greater freedom of action. Black played knight d7, intending to support the g8 knight when it develops from f6. After this, white played knight to f3. Also, instead of knight to d7, had black directly played knight f6, then knight cross f6 check, queen cross f6 brings black's queen out too early in the opening. And if black captures with g cross f6, breaks kingside pawn structure. So after knight d7, white played knight f3. A normal piece development towards the center makes way for short castle, and also the knight defends the king side. Black played knight g f6, developing the knight towards the center and also challenging white's centralized e4 knight. Now white played bishop d3. Rather than moving the knight away, white develops a piece and supports the knight. If black exchanges on e4, then white remains with a piece in the center by exchanging with the bishop. Now black played bishop e7, develops and makes way for castling. Now white played short castle. King safety also activates the rook. Now black played knight cross e4. Black exchanges to free his crowded position and let the queen side pieces get some air. White captured bishop cross e4, recapturing the knight. Now black played knight f6, brings his other knight towards the center and attacks the centralized e4 bishop. Now white played bishop to d3. This mobile bishop is too valuable for white to allow its exchange, so white retreated, but still maintaining this diagonal towards black's king side. Now black played b6. Black wants to develop his c8 bishop from b7, but there is danger in attempting this before the king has castled. Not only is there risk of a check on the a4 e8 diagonal, which might compel the king to move and lose the right to castle, but there is also the possibility of white planting a knight on c6 square. A square weakened by advancing the b7 pawn. Now after b6, white played a good move. Knight to e5. White occupies a wonderful outpost on the center and will put a restraining hand on black's pieces to move around. Now black played castle, Had black played bishop to b7, then bishop b5 check, king f8 and loses the privilege to castle. And instead of king f8, if black plays c6, then knight takes c6 and gaining white a pawn. So black played short castle. Now, also another important move here, if black captures queen cross d4, and that's a blunder because bishop b5 check, losing the queen by a discovered attack. So black played short castle and white played knight c6, immediately pouncing on the weakened square with a view to removing black's dark squared bishop. The knight is also attacking the queen. But why give up the knight which was occupying a wonderful outpost a moment ago for a bishop that seems to have little potential? Well, there are three good reasons. The exchange gets rid of one of black's bishop, which means white will have double bishop advantage. The reduction in material increases the dynamic power of white's pair of bishops, which have more space to work in. The emptier the board, the better they can sweep the area, one operating light and the other on dark diagonals. The third reason is rather subtle. Black's kingside position is well defended by the knight, in turn by the bishop and the queen. So, white first removes one of the knight's firm supports, the bishop. The substitution of black's queen for the bishop will make a pin on the white knight, a pin on the black knight, a potent one which cannot easily be shaken off. So after knight c6, now black played queen to d6. As good as any other move the queen can make. So white played another good move, queen to f3, a very important intermediate move or an in-between move. The immediate capture knight cross e7 instead of queen f3 would lead to queen cross e7, queen f3, attacking the rook, but then the black rook would move to b8, followed by bishop b7, drives the queen off the long diagonal and leaving black's bishop in control of it. So after queen f3, black cannot move his rook to b8. Actually, after queen f3, white is now threatening to play knight cross e7 check, queen cross e7 and queen cross a8, gaining a rook. So after queen f3, black played bishop to d7. Had black played bishop to b7, then knight cross e7 check, queen cross e7, queen cross b7, gains white a piece. And instead of bishop b7, if black plays knight to d5, then knight cross e7 check, queen cross e7 and c4, putting pressure on the pinned knight. And if here black plays knight b4, attacking the bishop, so that if white captures the rook right now, black will capture the bishop. So white can easily play bishop cross h7, king cross h7 and queen cross a8, gains white an exchange. So that's why black played bishop to d7. The only move to save the rook, the black rook on f8 protects the a8 rook. After this, white played knight cross e7 check. Now white has a clear winning position. He has a double bishop advantage and compelled black on moving his only bishop to an unfavorable square, from where he has little potential. Also, white has control over a long h1 to a8 diagonal, this diagonal with the queen. After knight cross e7, black captured queen cross e7, only move, and then white played another good move, bishop to g5, developing a piece and pinning the kingside defender, the knight. White's plan is to create a weakness in black's kingside pawn structure by queen e4. Idea: bishop cross f6, queen cross f6 and queen cross h7, checkmate. So after queen e4, if black captures knight cross e4, then bishop cross e7, attacking the rook. And the knight on e4 is already attacked. If black saves the rook and also attacks white's bishop, then white can play bishop cross e4. He has no time. Now black has no time to take the e7 bishop because bishop will capture the rook on a8. So after bishop g5, black played rook a c8. Moving the rook away from the line of attack and plans to play c5 to attack white's center pawn and also open up the file for the rook. After this, white played rook f e1. Brings out the rook on a half open file, prevents any attempt by black to free himself by advancing e5 and also getting the rook ready for kingside attack. So after this, black played rook f e8, vacating a square for his king. White played queen h3, another good move, the winning move. Now white is threatening to play bishop cross f6, queen cross f6 and queen cross h7, check. So after queen h3, black played queen d6, hoping that bishop cross f6 and then pawn takes f6 and then queen cross h7 check and then king f8. And then black king will be escaping from this diagonal. But after queen d6, white captured bishop cross f6, g cross f6 and white played a good move. White played queen h6, holding the king and keeping him from escaping by way of f8. Also, instead of queen d6, had black played h6, moving a pawn so that there will be no checkmate, but then white will capture bishop cross h6 and then g cross h6, queen cross h6 and the rook will come from e5 and g5 to checkmate black. And if your black plays queen f8 right now, then queen cross f6, leaving white with 2 pawns up and black with a broken king side. Also, instead of h6, had black played g6, then queen h4, attacking the f6 knight. If black plays king g7 to support the pawn, then rook e4, followed by rook f4, and the knight is gone. So, after queen d6, white played bishop cross f6, pawn takes f6, and queen h6. A good move, holding the king and keeping him from escaping by the way of f8. The idea of queen h6 is bishop cross h7, check. And then king h8, bishop g6, check, king g8, queen h7, check, king f8, and queen cross f7, checkmate. So, after queen h6, black played f5, blocking the line of the bishop. Now, white played rook e3, so that the rook will come to g3. And then king h8, queen g7, and checkmate, or queen f6, a checkmate. So, after rook e3, black played queen cross d4, guarding the g7 square. Now white played another good move, c3, and black resigned. As he is helpless because his queen is in danger but cannot move away because of queen g7 checkmate after rook g3 and queen g7 checkmate. So if black plays queen g7 right now, then rook g3 pins the queen, and instead of queen g7, if black plays queen h8, then rook g3 check, queen g7 and queen cross g7 checkmate. So this was the game and it was awarded a Brilliancy prize. I hope you enjoyed it. And from this game we learned that occupy the center with pawns, develop your pieces towards the center, try developing your pieces as quickly as possible, castle as early as possible. Delaying castle is not a good idea. Whenever possible, develop with a threat. Try to weaken opponent's castled king's position. Do not weaken pawns in front of your castled king. Try to use most of your pieces while attacking. Get control of opponent's weakened squares. Occupy outposts as soon as possible. Double bishops are even more powerful in open positions. So, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed and learned from this game as well. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in my next video. Thank you. Bye.